Following the death of Iran's incumbent supreme leader, and the subsequent election of his son as his successor, many people around the world are asking the same question. How was this decision actually made within such a short period of time? Unlike the presidents or prime ministers in many countries, however, Iran's leader isn't chosen through a normal national election. Instead, the process is done by a relatively unknown body. Iran's supreme leader is elected by a deliberative body called the Assembly of Experts, an 88-member council whose purpose is to elect the supreme leader and determine whether he remains qualified for the position. To run for a seat in the Assembly of Experts, candidates must be mujtahids, highly trained scholars who are qualified to independently interpret Islamic law, also known as Sharia, using sources such as the Quran and the Sunnah. Candidates are elected by the public vote every 8 years, and assembly members must further be approved by the Guardian Council, a 12-member council composed of 6 Islamic clerics appointed by the supreme leader, and 6 jurists appointed by the Chief Justice, himself appointed by the supreme leader. The Guardian Council has 3 mandates, one of which is approving or disqualifying candidates from these elections. In summary, the supreme leader is elected by the Assembly of Experts, whose members are elected by public vote every 8 years. However, because the supreme leader of Iran holds the office for life, an important question remains. What happens when the incumbent holder dies or is removed from office? According to Article 111 of the Iranian Constitution, when the supreme leader dies or is removed from office, the Assembly of Experts should convene as quickly as possible to appoint a successor. An interim council comprising 3 members, the Iranian president, chief justice, and one of the 12 Guardian Council members chosen by the Expediency Discernment Council, an administrative assembly within the government whose 48 members are chosen by the supreme leader every 5 years, carries out the duties of the supreme leader until a new one can be appointed. In order for a new supreme leader to be elected to the position, a proposed candidate must receive the votes of at least 2/3 of the Assembly of Experts members, in this case 59 votes. Oftentimes, the incumbent supreme leader may designate a close affiliate as a successor or heir, but this does not necessarily mean that they will become the new leader, as the final decision still rests with the Assembly of Experts. So far, the Assembly of Experts has only had to select a new supreme leader twice, the first of which was triggered in 1989 by the death of incumbent supreme leader Ruhollah Khomeini, the founder of the modern-day Islamic Republic and a key leader of the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which saw the overthrow of the Pahlavi monarchy. The first ballot saw the proposal of Mohammad Reza Golpagani as the new supreme leader, but in the end, he ended up receiving only 14 votes from the then 86 members of the Assembly of Experts. The second ballot, which proposed Ali Khamenei as Khomeini's successor, succeeded with 80% of the members voting in favor. However, this victory could not quite be certified because of an underlying issue. Therefore, this ballot only saw Khamenei elected as the acting supreme leader. Prior to 1989, the constitution required that the supreme leader be a marja, the highest level of a Twelver Shia cleric, a title of which Khamenei lacked. However, a nationwide referendum held on July 28, 1989, which asked if the general public approved of the amendments to the Constitution, one of which abolishing this requirement, was approved by an overwhelming majority, with just under 98% of voters voting in favor of the amendments. This allowed for a third ballot to be held on August 6, 1989, of which Khamenei received 60 votes from the 64 members of the Assembly of Experts present, securing his election as the second supreme leader of Iran.